Yo, welcome back to another Dead Rails video. In today's video, I'm going to be using the vampire class to bond farm inside of Dead Rails. My goal is to stop at every named location and to stop at some towns that have multiple banks. If you're enjoying the Dead Rails content, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'm working on a new video ranking every class, so make sure to let me know what your favorite class is in the comments. Starting the game, the speed boost is the first thing I noticed. As a vampire, you're literally faster than a horse. Starting the round, I did everything I normally do. I grabbed my Game Pass guns, I sold the gold bar to buy 3 coal, and I used my newspapers as defenses on my train. With everything done in the first outpost, I started my journey. I wasn't going to stop at any small houses, but before it got dark, I did want to test the lifesteal ability of the vampire knife. And it turns out the vampire knife is actually a really good weapon. It does good damage and it heals you as well. After looting a few small houses, I decided to skip the first zombie town and head straight for the 10,000 meter outpost. At the first outpost, I sold all the valuable stuff that I was able to find. This was all so I could buy snake oil for the future. I also found a camera. Cameras are actually super useful for being able to see stuff while you drive, and immediately the camera paid off. I was able to see outlaws beside the outpost. I might have missed this without a camera. This might be a sign. A free unicorn at 10,000 meters into the run. After grabbing the outlaws and the unicorn, I turned in the bounty, and I got extra snake oil and revolver ammo. I was now ready to take on the next zombie town. Going into the first zombie town, I made the mistake of using the horse. Like I said earlier, the vampire class is actually faster than a horse, so don't use a horse if you're playing vampire. I'll probably have to sell the unicorn later. I started raiding the town as soon as the sun was setting, and even though I could barely see anything, I ran around and cleared the small town, and I was able to open the bank as soon as the sun was rising. After grabbing all the bonds and looting the church, I left that town and headed to the next outpost. And my luck was continuing. Before getting to the next outpost, I got an early laboratory spawn, which means I could get my hands on the electrocutioner pistol. The best way to beat the lab is to leave and then come back after all the zombies spawned, so I left and bought more oil. With all the oil I bought, I was now immune to the sun. So when the sun was rising, I went back to the laboratory and I rounded up all the zombies and killed them with 1 holy water and my Mauser. After grabbing all the bonds and the electrocutioner's pistol, I ran back to the train to get ready for the next few towns. At the next zombie town, there was only 1 bank, so I made a quick stop and grabbed the bank. After that, I knew the castle was coming up at 40,000 meters, so I wanted to hurry and get there while it was nighttime. After the town, I arrived at the castle. This was my first time trying to speedrun the castle as a vampire, and I will say it was easy. I only had to use snake oil to heal. I was already fast enough to outrun the werewolves as the vampire. After my first run through the castle, I reloaded my snake oil in my hotbar, and I went back to the back door of the castle to get the rest of the bonds. It took me 2 minutes in total and a few snake oil to get every bond in the castle. So, preparing for my next stop, I sold my valuables and the second vampire knife, and I bought more snake oil. Also, after seeing how easy the castle was, I decided to challenge myself by leaving the train behind for the last 40,000 meters. After leaving the train, I used a bunch of snake oil to run to the next zombie town. I was able to clear the town easily with the electrocutioner pistol, and since it was a thunderstorm, I dropped the electrocutioner pistol next to a lightning rod in hopes that it would get reloaded while I looted the banks. As a vampire, I was soloing towns in less than 5 minutes at this point, so the vampire class really seemed unstoppable. Every town I cleared, I used the gold and silver to buy more oil, and I was able to run to the next town. After running for a few minutes, I realized that I had finally made it to the last named location. Fort Constitution. My plan for the fort was to simply run in, grab the bonds, and leave. Unfortunately, after glitching into the lock depot, I lost my horse. For a second, I thought it was all over. I was stuck. But then I realized that if Captain Prescott died and dropped his key right by the door, I could theoretically get out. Luckily, after a few minutes of waiting, he did exactly that and I was able to leave. Even with the mistake I made, I was still able to get all the bonds from the fort in less than 3 minutes. My main problem now was running out of oil before making it to the last outpost. I had already stopped at the castle, the fort, and the laboratory, so the only 2 stops I would have before beating the game would be the final 2 zombie towns. And when I arrived at the 5th zombie town, it was the biggest town I had seen yet. I looted the banks and reloaded my gun with holy water, because things were about to get difficult. I had run out of snake oil and it was a vampire night. My only option was to run and hope that I didn't die. Luckily, I was able to survive the night, and I decided to wait during the day at a farm nearby. When I was recording this, I didn't know I could cover the sun with a newspaper, so I just waited until nighttime. Once it was nighttime, I was able to run to the next outpost without any heals. Since this was the last outpost, I stopped and bought as much oil as possible. After that, I ran to the last zombie town. I cleared the town and grabbed all 3 banks. Now, my only goal was to beat the game without dying. Before getting to the last outpost, I reloaded my electrocutioner pistol with holy water again, and I looted a nearby medic house for some last heals. And finally, the time had come. After such a lucky and perfect run, I didn't want to risk anything, so I went slow on the final outpost, killing each outlaw one at a time. After picking up all the bonds, I pulled the lever and waited at the backside of the bridge for an easy win. In total, this run took an hour and 45 minutes, and I got a total of 84 bonds, so I would highly suggest the vampire class for solo bond farming. If you want to see another video of me testing out classes, make sure to let me know what class I should use next, and if you like Dead Rails content, like and subscribe. I try to stream every day around 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you don't want to miss any streams, make sure to hit that notification bell. Besides that, a special shout out to all of our channel members, and I'll see you guys all in the next video or live stream.